Welcome back, dear listeners, to another episode of Susan Lopresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul, the podcast where we explore the highs, the lows, and everything in between when it comes to a woman's life, her health, and all aspects of navigating the midlife landscape. I'm your host, Susan Lopresti, and I'm thrilled to be here with you again today. I want to delve into a topic that is pertinent and often overlooked, and that's the challenges faced by midlife women when transitioning careers. As we journey through life, many of us find ourselves at a crossroads where we contemplate shifting gears professionally. Sometimes this is a choice that we make for ourselves, and other times it's a situation that we become faced with that was not our choice, but was forced upon us by our current job. It could be a layoff due to downsizing or a merger, or maybe the company is going out of business. Or it could be that we decide for ourselves that we want to try something new, and yet we're uncertain if making that transition is the right choice for us. Whatever the situation is, it's a huge transition that could be very scary and particularly daunting due to a myriad of unique challenges. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope that you enjoyed the show. I want to begin with my own personal story when I was faced with this realization at 61 years old, when I was let go from my corporate position of 27 years due to a merger in my company. When I turned 60, I had this 5-year plan. I knew that at 65, I was retiring. I was in a wonderful company. It was an entertainment company, and I made the most beautiful friendships with a lot of my coworkers. We had a very unique department. It was a bunch of women, and it was a wonderful situation. But the work was not something that resonated with me. I was an analyst in this position. And for anyone who knows me, you know I'm not an analyst. I'm very big picture. I'm very creative. The first 14 years of my career, I was in the garment industry, and I was in fashion and design. I was in merchandising. Then I was in sales. I did a whole bunch of different things. I was also a buyer at one point for a department store. So it wasn't until I found myself pregnant with my child that I decided that the fashion industry wasn't going to work for me any longer as a new mom. I worked a lot of overtime. I did a lot of traveling. And I was just looking at this point in my life for a paycheck. So I applied for a position in a major entertainment company as an administrative assistant. It was a 9 to 5 job. There was no overtime, there was no traveling, and there wasn't much room for advancement. And I wasn't really looking to advance. I just needed a paycheck. So that job worked well for me for the first, I would say, 12 years that I was doing that job. As my daughter started getting older and she was more independent and on her own, I decided that I wanted to try to advance in that company. And I was offered a position in human resources to be an analyst, a compensation analyst. So basically, I was analyzing employee salary. It was never a good fit for me. It wasn't something that I was interested in. I wasn't involved with the employees themselves. It was just the name of a person and their salary, and it just wasn't a good fit for me. It was just analytical. It was all about numbers. There was nothing personal about it. I wasn't interacting with employees, which probably would have been a better fit for me. It was just about an employee's name, their salary, where they were at, and what we were looking to increase their salary to. But it afforded me a lot of wonderful things. I was able to travel. I was able to buy a home. I was able to give my daughter all the things that she needed. I put her through college. And so I traded my happiness for money. And it worked. And I had this 5-year plan. When I turned 60, I knew that by 65, I would retire. Although the company had different plans, we went through a merger. And at 61 years old, I found myself out of work. So now I was faced with, what am I going to do? Am I going to start looking for a new corporate position at 61? And I started thinking, who was going to hire me at the salary that I was making when they could bring in a younger person right out of school who probably had a lot of new and fresh ideas, and they could hire them for a lot less money. Let me go back a little bit. Probably about 5 years before I lost my job, I got certified as a health coach because I was always very interested in health and wellness. I got interested in health and wellness when I was about 30 years old, and I was into juicing, and I took up running, and I was all about eating healthy, working out, meditating. I was always very advanced, and I just loved all of that. But I was never planning to do anything with it because I had a job. And how could I be juggling a full-time job, raising a daughter, and taking on a new career? But when I was faced with my job loss, I realized I never wanted to do what I was doing again. And so I decided to hire myself a business coach. And what I did was I developed my Susan Lopresti Wellness, Mind, Body, and Soul company. And I started to go in that direction. I also started this podcast. It worked out for me. I'm extremely happy. Actually, I've never been happier. I don't make the same kind of money that I was making when I was working, but who cares? Because right now I'm more about being happy and working on my terms, my hours, and I absolutely love it. And I am so thankful that I lost my job and I was given the opportunity to pursue a new and very exciting career that I just love doing. So what I want to talk about today is exploring the challenges and discuss some strategies to overcome those challenges. And it can be done. And maybe you're thinking about transitioning to something new and exciting, or maybe you're thinking about just switching companies. Whatever it is for you, I just want to offer you some tips and tools and ways that you can make this transition and make it easy for yourself and have some confidence in what it is that you're going to do. Identity crisis is one of the biggest challenges that you will face as a midlife woman that's looking to transition into a new career. It's called imposter syndrome, really, because you do feel like an imposter. And it took me a while to really get over that, especially in my podcast. When I go back and I listen to the first couple of episodes of my podcast, I cringe because I'm thinking about how nervous I was and how I came across. And it just takes time to get comfortable. And that was a primary challenge for me. And I know that it's a primary challenge for a lot of women in midlife that are faced with changing careers. It's just grappling with that sense of identity. After dedicating years to a particular profession or a role, it's natural to intertwine our identity with our career. But all of a sudden, when you're faced with a new career, how do you transition and find that comfortability with this new career and this new challenge that you're up against? So You can have a lot of uncertainty and also a loss of identity. And I went through all those feelings. I really, really did, especially like the first month or two. I was depressed. I was scared. I didn't know what I wanted to do and how I wanted to start this new career and this new business. I just knew the things I didn't want to do. I knew I didn't want to stay in a corporate position. I knew I did not want to stay in an analyst position. And so I knew that I wanted to help women. I wanted to help women. I wanted women to know that just because you're aging doesn't mean that your life is over. I wanted women to know that we could stay healthy, we could stay vibrant, and we could enjoy midlife years. But there are so many other things attached to that. Let's talk about if you're transitioning into a new career, your financial concerns, because financial stability is a significant concern for midlife women considering career changes. And you still have responsibilities at this stage of your life. You're still paying a mortgage, perhaps, and maybe you're still putting your kids through college and also still building your retirement savings. That could make the prospect of starting anew seem very financially risky. In my situation, I had no choice. I was forced into this situation. But for women who are deciding for themselves that they want to make this transition and leave their career that they have, there's that fear of instability that can act as a barrier to pursuing your passion or exploring new opportunity. And then you also need to look at your skills. If you've been in a position for a long time, like I was, I didn't know all these new skills. And there's also evolving job markets that can render your skills as obsolete. And so I decided to hire myself a business coach to help me get myself comfortable being in front of a camera, comfortable on social media, learning social media, learning how to market myself on social media, right? So that's where I was at. And midlife women will find themselves lacking the necessary technical skills or industry knowledge that's required in their desired career path. So you need to either reskill yourself or upskill becomes essential, but you may feel overwhelmed. I did. I felt overwhelmed. I felt insecure, and it was a very difficult transition for me, but I made it work. So you need to also look at your work-life balance, juggling family responsibilities, possibly elder care, because let's face it, we are dealing with our aging parents as well, and that responsibility may fall on you. Midlife women also may find themselves challenging to strike a balance between their personal and their professional lives, and pursuing a new career may require additional time and energy, intensifying the struggle to maintain that equilibrium. And then, unfortunately, there's ageism that persists in many workplaces, with midlife women encountering biases and discriminations when seeking employment or advancement opportunities. Stereotypes about older workers being less adaptable or less tech savvy can hinder their confidence and the prospect in a new career. And I was faced with that. Networking and social connections, building professional networks and establishing connections is crucial for career transitions. However, midlife women may find themselves at a disadvantage compared to younger counterparts who have more time to cultivate networks. Overcoming this challenge requires proactive efforts to expand one's circle and leveraging existing relationships. And then there's that self-confidence and fear of failure. And I was faced with that as well when I started my business. I wasn't sure. When I was in this business coaching group, there weren't many women my age in that group. Most of the women in that group were a lot younger than me, and they were more confident than me. And confidence really does play a significant role in pursuing a career transition. Midlife women may battle self-doubt, and we call it imposter syndrome, and also a fear of failure, especially if they've been in their current career for a very long time, like I was. And all of a sudden, I was faced with being out of work and wanting to start something new, and just an overall sense of fear, imposter syndrome, who was going to listen to me, and just a ton of different fears and phobias and internal barriers that require cultivating self-belief and resilience and a growth mindset. And I had to do a lot of work on myself. I really did. I started meditating more and taking classes and learning a lot more and watching other coaches and seeing how comfortable they felt. And then I was always comparing myself. And then I decided, you know what, Susan? Stop comparing yourself to other people and just be Susan. Be who you are. People will like you for who you are. Now, if you're deciding to go into a new company and you're looking to make a complete career transition, face it, you need to start at the bottom again and work yourself up. Learn. And some of the best advice that I give to women who are looking to go into another corporate job is to apply at a lower level and take a salary cut and learn this new career from the bottom, right? And get better skills and keep advancing as far as you can in that company. And if you're in a position that you know from when you're starting that you're only going to be able to go to a certain level, then what you may have to do is when you get to the top of that tier, you may have to start jumping around and interviewing at other companies, starting at a higher level, and just keep going at that pace. So there are a lot of strategies for overcoming those challenges, and you need to take time to reflect on your values, your interests, and your skills. And you need to clarify your goals and your aspirations to align with your career transition and also with your personal vision as well. And continue learning and developing. Invest in acquiring new skills and knowledge relevant to your desired career path. And that's what I did. I hired a business coach. I did a lot of online courses and workshops and mentorship programs. And these could really provide you with valuable resources for upskilling. Also, financial planning and support. And that's what I did. I went directly to my financial planner and I told them, I lost my job. I want to start a new career. As a health coach, I want my own business. I'm starting my own business. And they guided me based on how I had already invested. They looked at all of my expenses on a monthly basis, and they gave me the green light. The first financial planner that I talked to, he said to me that I needed to go back to work. And I didn't want to hear that. I didn't want to go back to a job. I didn't want a 9 to 5. I wanted flexibility. I wanted my own career. I wanted to be my own boss. And so I went to a different financial planner and we laid out a different plan for me. And he told me, he said, Susan, you're going to have to cut back. You're not going to be able to do all the things that you always did. But if you scale back and just do the necessities that you need to do, you can make it work. And as you start building your business and you're making income, you'll be able to make adjustments. But for now, scale back and focus on your business and forget about taking great vacations, forget about buying clothes, scale back on your social activities. And so I did. I quit my gym membership. I don't go out to dinner as much as I used to. And I don't need to buy clothes. I don't need to go for manicures and pedicures as often as I used to. I used to go once a week. Now I go once a month. I used to get my hair colored. I color my own hair. There's things that you could do to scale back. And that's what you need to do. You need to create a financial plan to mitigate the risks associated with your career transitions. And you need to talk to your financial planner to do that. Explore options such as savings, or you may need to do part-time work or get financial assistance programs to ease the transition period. So I started taking my Social Security earlier. I started at 63. It wasn't ideal, it's less money, but my financial planner told me by the time you reach, I believe it was 72 or 73, you've taken the same amount of money. So take it early. That was his advice to me. Then I want to talk to you also about networking and mentorship. Actively seek out networking opportunities and mentorship relationships. Leverage platforms like LinkedIn and professional organizations to expand your connections and to seek guidance from industry experts that you're interested in pursuing. Embrace resilience and flexibility. There are always going to be setbacks and challenges as part of the journey. And I'm not going to lie, some months for me are better than others. And sometimes I put my health coaching business aside because I have other responsibilities, like an aging parent or other things that come up in my life that I need to pursue. But this business offers me the opportunity to juggle and move around and be my own boss. And there's nothing better than that. You need to cultivate resilience and be adaptable to navigate obstacles and pivot whenever necessary. So I just want to say that the challenges that midlife women face, changing careers, is really multifaceted and requires very careful navigation. You need to acknowledge these challenges and implement strategies to overcome them. Midlife women can embark on fulfilling and successful career transitions, but we need to support ourselves in embracing new opportunities and realizing our full potential at every stage of life. You know, you don't realize how much midlife women could really bring to the table because we may not have all of the new technology down, right? But what we have is life experience. We have life experience that younger people don't have. And we have the tools, and believe it or not, you may not think that you do, but we have the tools. We've been through a lot of challenges in our life by the time we're in our 50s and 60s. And if we're still here, lucky enough to be talking about it, you have overcome more obstacles than you realize. So just be gentle with yourself. And if you don't think that being hired by a company is a realistic goal for yourself, then you may want to consider taking on positions such as consulting work, right? And going into a company and consulting for them and helping them, or newer companies that are just getting started. You could go in and consult and help them in whatever your field was while you were working a full-time job. There are so many other opportunities. You could be more of a career coach rather than going in and working for a company. You can help women like yourself who are looking to transition into something new and exciting. Believe me, there's a world of opportunity out there. You need to put yourself out there. You need to start exploring ways that you can make money doing something that you're good at doing, that you love doing. There are options out there. You just need to explore, be open to all and any possibility that comes along. If you're offered a position, even if it's lowest level possible, if you need to be making a salary, take that job, see where it goes. And once you reach a dead end at that position, either go in and ask for advancement. And if they tell you there's no room for growth here, start interviewing elsewhere and go into a position that's a little bit of a higher level than where you're at. Pursue that, do the best that you can, see if you could get promoted in that area. And if not, then move on again and keep moving on. And believe me, there will be a world of opportunity that opens up for you. I will say that when I first started my health coaching business, I had no interest in starting a podcast. But as I was in this business coaching group and I was talking to other women who were starting podcasts, I started thinking about it. Why can't I start a podcast? I could do that. I could get on and start talking about health and wellness. Why not? And guess what? May 2nd of this year will be 2 years since I started my podcast. It's been something that I've absolutely adored doing. I love it. I've connected with so many wonderful people. I've interviewed people on here who know more about health and wellness than I do, that I was able to bring to my audience, to teach my audience new things. And it's been a wonderful opportunity. So you just never know where your life is going to take you. So just be open to opportunities, trust in the universe, trust in yourself as well, and know that better things are coming. When you have a positive attitude, you open up to a world of opportunity. Keep that in mind. Reach out to me if you have any questions, any concerns. And if you think that this episode or any episode that I've put out there would benefit someone who you know and love, please share it out with them. Also, if you would like a 30-minute health assessment with me, you could go to my website, www.susanlopresti.com. From there, you could schedule a free 30-minute health assessment with me. You're under no obligation to continue. We could talk about health and wellness. We could talk about your transition to a different career. If you're out of work, if you're thinking about leaving your job or thinking about transitioning to a new career, I'm happy to talk to you further about my own experience with that. Believe me when I tell you, I know where you're at. It's scary. It's challenging. Imposter syndrome is big time with us, and we feel insecure because we think we're old, but we're not old, ladies. We're not old. We're actually so much more advanced than so many younger people, even though you may think that you're not. Think about your life experiences, how you're still here today to talk about them, and know that you have a lot to bring to the table. Thank you again for listening. Until the next time, be well, stay happy, and bye for now. Take good care, everyone.